So for me, I think what I see happening is that with this whole dilemma between men and women,
Mm-hmm.
the fact is that half of the world is female,
Mm-hmm.
and the females are the largest marginalised group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, within that there are various marginalisations.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially we keep on trying to change the world by changing the players.
Mm-hmm.
We have to change the system.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that for 2,000 years and at least 100 years we've been fighting for a place on that map means that we've always been fighting onto that male map.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. I think we should acknowledge that men created the world the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
Profit, business,
Mm-hmm.
trade, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Men did that, women had babies, they were good at sewing and cooking and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're fast forward, we've got the vote, we've got this, we've got all this stuff, but we haven't changed the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact there was a really good article in Financial Times, which I'll send you, but it said, if women don't become leaders totally resonant with male leaders, we're not going to solve the economic equation ever.
Mm.
Because it's working together with emotional integrity and operational excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we bring together. So if you look at the map where we have a level of understanding of the feminine energy,
Mm-hmm.
not to do with people, but the feminine energy is relationships, it's customer service, it's being kind, loyal, it's it's all of those what men sometimes say are soft skills.
Mm.
But that's what make business work. And it was interesting when you said about it, take the emotion out of business. I agree to some respect that business needs to be very functional.
Mm-hmm.
But women are very, very good at doing business, and
Oh, my
they do
word.
business in
Yeah.
a different way. So even if you take the example of the microfinancing in India when it first started,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who started that said what he loved about women was when he loaned them money, they always paid back on time,
Mhm.
and they did something with the money, and he gave them more.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do more with that money than a man would, who would ask for more money, and then sometimes be so risky they would lose the money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a different nature. When I worked with women in Malaysia, all these women starting up very small businesses on the corner, making cakes and all sorts of things,
Mhm.
every single one of them wanted to build a foundation. And I say, why do you want to build a foundation when you haven't even started the business yet? Well, because it matters, because we have to change our community. So women have always been about the sort of the broader community picture,
Mm-hmm.
and men have always been about the trade, make the money, invest. So what I'm talking about now is how could we have a more
Mhm.
circular business model? And I don't know all the answers. That's why I get people into conversation. I say, you've got a blank sheet,
Mm.
you're creating the new. If you had nothing from the past, what would you do now? So let's say you looked at talent.
Mm-hmm.
So you regard a female talent on equal measure to male talent, not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all equal and different.
Mm-hmm.
I am unique, just like you. That's a wonderful statement, that we want to be individual human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge for women is that when they have children, it changes their life cycle, it changes the trajectory of their life.
And that's why my wife didn't want to model. That's the whole point. I'm like,
Yeah.
you were a model. You taught other models. You
Yeah.
should model. Go back. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
the challenge is that when women come back into their career, they downgrade it.
Right.
And there's a sense that everything you've learned having children is not valuable in the workplace. What if you changed that and said, actually, everything you learned is valuable in the workplace, because it's about team, it's about relationships, it's about creativity, innovation. And of course, now you've got AI coming in, we've got this place where
You better
some
catch up
things
with
that
that.
are rote, rote education can be made by AI easily.
Mm-hmm.
Non-rote education,
Mhm.
education which is about experience and evolution of the human spirit and intelligence, cannot be replicated by AI.
Mhm.
So then you can use AI to do the grunt work, if you like, and by embracing women not on an equality fight,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of leveraging their talent.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs men to change their view of what is relevant to business. So how do you cost out intuition on the bottom line? How do you cost out kindness on the bottom line? So some men will say, oh no, you can't count that in. But actually you get great customer service and loyalty, or loyalty especially in a
Mhm.
marketplace like now. You need loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard a piece of news that British Telecom are getting rid of 55,000 jobs with
What?
no replacement.
And this is the chatbot in it, somewhere in that area.
Well, they reckon AI will take most of those jobs.
Yes, because that's what's going on in Hollywood.
Because
Hollywood.
it's a well, British Telecom is a telecom, so it's very functional, so it can be done. But human beings are so amazing.
British Telecom. That's going to put a lot of people.
55,000 people out.
That's so cold. That's
so cold. What are those people going to do?
I know.
And this is where education comes in, and that's why I believe we have to educate the youth, because about entrepreneurship, about mindset, about dreams, about passion, they're not all going to be entrepreneurs, but the others that are not going to be the entrepreneurs will be the ones who want to work with the entrepreneurs. So when you have employers, you need employees. I always use Richard Branson as my big role model,
Yeah, I
because
like him a lot.
he has a philosophy which goes into all his companies that the staff are as important as everything.
Oh, I've done seen plenty of his interviews. I like him a lot.
And you see, when women have babies, say they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, whatever, they are brilliant at multitasking. They are brilliant at
Yes.
scheduling, management, maintenance, nursing. You know, I mean, essentially, when you look at what women do with children, it's like managing a really difficult workforce. And especially when they get into their teenage years, you're dealing with very difficult young adults.
Absolutely.
So one of my visions is with this connection
We'll
with
just call them
Africa
complicated.
is that we need to take this into Africa, because I have contacts in Ghana. This guy in Ghana's got. He said he had 2,000 students in the room. He said I could have had 10,000 if I could have found a big enough space. These kids are eager.
They're hungry.
And they're all 15 to 18.
We're creating jobs right now. Well, I've already been creating jobs. I've already invested. I mean, these guys know it, to get that office to the point where they don't need me at all. Because and I'm doing everything in my power to make that happen. Like even helping with my promotional skill to sell and find businesses here that they can liaison with and do business with. And it's been a powerful tool. Been a powerful tool to have the office. Been a powerful tool to see the children from the university, because that's where he gets them.
Yeah.
Because the bishop was doing conferences at different universities, 4 different ones, and mentorship programs, and now we give the mentorship somewhere to go. He's originally from Connecticut.
Yeah.
So this is why we do what we do, but it was kind of crazy, because I get what you're saying about the hunger, because here are some college students, and I'm like, okay, well, I got this vacation club guy, and he wants them to do a phone room over there, and I'm thinking college students like in America, maybe they want to do it. No, they absolutely did. They're like, we are so grateful for the opportunity to have work. And I think we have to, because you said what you did about Britain, it's here in America too.
Yes.
The issue is this. We're so spoiled at this point that we don't see these things, and people aren't prepared. And so unfortunately with Africa, where they're just humble and ready to take any job, we're going to curse those jobs. We're going to say, no, telemarketing, I don't want to do that, man. I mean, I got to do.
Oh yeah.
They're just happy to have a job, and I think this is the part. But I wanted to say this because I want you to understand who you're dealing with. Someone told me this years ago. We were going for some money, and this was a multimillionaire by this time. I think his company had grossed her company had grossed 127 million. She had a separate entity company. And he had a company, and his company had grossed 56 million. It was Mr. Houston.
Yeah.
They were in an office, and this is where I got the idea of Diamond VIP. They were in an office with another gentleman whose business was grossing almost $450 million. Do they need to be in an office together? No. Do they need to have one conference room? No. But they collaborated together.
Yeah.
They mastermind together. They got it.
Yeah.
But when I go in this office, I'm looking around, and I'm just nervous, just trying to break the ice. And all I see is Alice Houston's pictures. And guess what? She was a sociologist too. That's where she came from originally, but an entrepreneur. And so I'm looking, and Fortune magazine, and I don't care, I'm pushing my wife too, but I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, here's the joke, here's the chance. Where's Mr. Houston?
Yeah.
So I said, Mr. Houston, he's about 6'5". I said, I looked in the Black Enterprise magazine, and sir, your company had grossed $56 million. That's amazing, Mr. Hughes. That's just, I mean, I was just really blown away, from your humble beginnings. I said, but Alice's company, man, that thing grossed $127 million, and I did that like the orchestra and the choir. And he goes, son, you and I, yes sir, we're minorities. He said, but our wives, double minorities. And he walked away.
Yeah.
When he did that, we left that meeting. I told my wife, I said, take my name off of everything. She said, why? I said, we can get you through so many more women's group doors, and you can go speak different places and do different things.
Yeah.
I said, they don't want to see me show up and talk about womanhood in your business. I mean, that's not something they want to see. But here's where I really want you to see this. So remember, we're talking about the baby, right? So on that day, when we came back, which would have been June 1, okay, everything's official. I'm looking through the word, I'm praying, I'm in dark. And I said, God, just lead me to where you want me to go. Lead me to where you want me to go.
Yeah.
In this scripture in Ezekiel 21, God says, I'm against Israel. It's Israel, it's Babylon and Israel, right?
Yeah.
So the two kingdoms of Israel are so disobedient that God is just fed up with it. So what does he do? He allows Babylon to come in to take them over. And he says the diadem, the crown, is going low. And the abased is coming high. That's the moment we're in right now.
Yeah.
But here you get in 27, it says, overturn. He says, I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he come whose right it is, and I will give it to him. Until he come whose right it is. So I'm praying and I'm like, well, God, I mean, that was there. You're not against Israel now. I said, what are you overturning in this season? The Spirit said, systems. I'm overturning systems. And I've been telling people this for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
So for you to sit there and basically say what I was told to understand and comprehend, which is why I'm not late to the party. I'm ready for the party because I've been telling people this was coming anyway.
Well, that's right, exactly. And one of our challenges that we were building up a lot of discomfort and arguments right up to COVID.
It was tough.
I mean, I went to a session for something called 2020 Women on Board in November 2019 in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
There were 220 women in the room, 4 men. Every speaker on the stage was a woman, and I just sat there and thought, why are we here? We're talking about women. We're not changing the system.
There you go.
And in fact, the stage was women who were saying, they were top women, they said, you can't write a bio for a woman to get on a board. You have to sit next to the right man at an event. And I'm thinking, well, that's rubbish. And I remember thinking that in England, I was at something where they were talking about being desperate to be non-exec directors and not paid. And I'm saying, why do you want to be that? Because you're still demoting yourself to not changing the system. Now, I know that's a big ask, but there are companies, this is what I'm passionate about corporate art. If we could create an incubator for leaders to understand this language I'm talking about, they then change their organizations, but the caveat is they must talk about it. They must say to the world, no, we are a corporate art company. I don't mean for my business, but
I get it.
Publicity-wise.
Yeah.
You try and think of, when I try and think of companies that do this, I fall short because I don't know who they are.
No, you're right. Let me explain me.
Virgin, Patagonia.
That's it. It's him. Yeah.
That's
right.
it.
So in 2008, we had 2 gentlemen that we were going to let into our business, and they, people can't wait for things to happen, so they get impatient and they want to go on. So these guys go on. So my wife was very hurt by these 2 gentlemen, right? Because she believed in them. So once they leave to go on, I kind of incubated us into, it's just going to be about us, and I don't want to hear what you got to say. You hurt my wife, and now this is what it's going to be. So I renamed my company U&I Entertainment. That's why I had to be spoken to about, like, let it go.
Yeah.
When we got our business partner. So when that happened, I told my wife, I said, it's just been U&I anyway. And so it was an acronym, U-N-I, but we really were saying it's U&I. That's, really, at the end of the day, honey, you can't trust anybody to do anything. And so here I am incubated from 2008 all the way until April 5th of 2020. What am I doing? If it isn't this, it's definitely not. It's business or this. This is it.
Yeah.
I don't mind praying for you. I got hundreds of people here, right? And it's clear, whoever they are. A lot of times it's just I met them, somewhere, right? So here I am praying for people, and I'm like in my comfort zone at this point. I'm doing it for hours. I'm very peaceful in a nice, loving space. And I hear, stop attending to Pharaoh's business, get up and build for your people. So I'm like, well, how does this make sense? Now let's talk about religion real quick. What does religion tell you? Religion says, I got my word, I pray, I went to church, right? I
Yeah.
give to the poor, I do all the things. I checked every box, but the Spirit kept saying, all you're doing is checking
the box.
boxes. Yeah, that's all you're doing. Come on, give me a high five. That's all you're doing.
And I tell you what, on a practical level, that's what DEI is doing. I don't mind saying it aloud.
Oh.
DEI